Hi, this is Craig, and welcome to another episode of Cruising Off Duty. Well, we endured the rain and the cold to finally get our boat off duty into the water at Iroquois. Then we're going to do a 12-hour motor up the St. Lawrence River to Kingston, where we will be based out of for this summer. The Thousand Islands are beautiful to look at, but not nearly so beautiful when it's gloomy and rainy. The trip ends with a calamity and makes us think in hindsight we should have just canceled to a better weekend. But there's definitely some lessons to be learned from all of this, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, at least that's what they say. All that coming up in this episode of Cruising Off Duty. Heading to the boat.
Yeah.
This is the weekend we had planned to get launched. And I work every second weekend, so it had to be this weekend or it was going to be 2 weekends from now. And it is pissing down rain.
Yep.
So they told us we can still do it, but talk about Dan yesterday, I guess.
Yes. So Dan got to somebody that was on our charter, was supposed to launch yesterday, and they couldn't launch him because the river level was way too high. Even though it was beautiful weather, it got postponed till tomorrow. I called this morning, they said the water level is a little bit lower and we possibly could get launched today. So we're driving there just in the hopes that it works out.
Even though it's pouring rain, so
Yeah.
I don't know how the water level is getting lower. Well, we got to get in.
So anyway, that's what we're doing.
And then the mast has to go on still,
Right.
too. So, all right, as you can see, our car is jammed to the rafters.
We got some matching luggage there. Everything's in garbage bags.
And we're very chic. So that's that. What else is going on? Then we have to try and get our mast has to go on, and then tomorrow, theoretically, Dan's got a time booked tomorrow morning, and then we're supposed to buddy boat all the way to Kingston, which is about a 2-day motor. We got a lot planned. Unfortunately, this weather is not cooperating.
It'll last all weekend.
There's been flooding in the area already, and I don't see it getting any less flooded with all this rain. Okay, we're here. It's raining. I'm filming on my G7X, which is not waterproof, but they're about to move our boat closer to the travel lift so we can go in today, even though it's unbelievably flooded around here. Don't ask me how the river went down today when it's been raining, but we should be happy. Get our boat in the water anyway. Of course, we have no idea if the engine's going to start or any of the other stuff that we need, and our mast still needs to go on, and they haven't really confirmed whether we're going to get our mast up today. Fingers crossed.
We're at the boat.
Yeah, we're here.
It's pretty wet.
But they tried to pull us out, and they're stuck in the mud. And the truck can't pull us out. Like I said, fingers crossed.
We're being a terrible inconvenience.
Yeah, Janice gets here. Who's excited to do this? And the guy running the truck goes, not me. And here he is now. These guys, not thrilled.
Coming with a tractor to pull themselves out. Super nice doggy there. He is part Rhodesian Ridgeback. So pretty. So friendly.
We're gonna get a tractor to pull our boat. A tractor to pull our truck, pull our boat.
The ground is just a bit soft, and I'm pretty sure they were hoping we'd cancel. But if it weren't for him working next weekend, we would have. So there.
Okay, here goes. Got it. Got it out of the mud.
We're trucking our boat toward the water. Supervisor dog is making sure they do a good job.
I'm surprised the travel lift didn't come and get it. They're trucking it to the travel lift, which is not what they did last time I saw a boat.
No, we saw a boat get launched by the travel lift last time. I guess they can't afford to let the travel lift get stuck in the mud. I'm standing under the bow of this boat so that I don't get wet while I videotape this operation. Now it's getting put in the travel lift. Super exciting. leaving now. Dan Godwin just got launched. We didn't film much yesterday because it was a shit show and it was raining and cold the entire time. But a lot of stuff went wrong. And I ended up having to go to the top of the mast because the furling drum got stuck up there. Anyway.
And we have one shroud that's not attached because somebody took a pin off when they took it down and didn't give us the pin. So we're missing a pin, which we didn't know. So
we can't sail, but that's okay.
We can't sail with one shroud not attached.
I don't think you were going to,
but
regardless.
Anyways, Dan, luckily we're following him. He's our buddy boat and we're going to be following him and he's going to be motoring anyway. So, all good. But it's a nasty weekend. Yeah. Rain, cold. Not what we were expecting for our first weekend on the boat, but we slept on the boat.
It was cozy.
It was cozy. We had shore power, thank goodness, because we had a little space heater to keep us warm. Because I think it was only like 4 degrees last night outside. It's cold on the water with the wind. So.
Yeah. It was raining and cold the entire time, and a lot of stuff went wrong, and we didn't have time to deal with the camera as well. But yeah.
One of the things with our furling drum got stuck at the top of the mast. We didn't realize that until after the mast was up, so Janice had to go up with the crane. We had to lift her to the top of my mast to pull the furling drum back down. And then one of our shrouds isn't attached because there was a pin missing. Some of our friends who helped us take the mast down must have taken the pin out, didn't tell us, didn't give us the pin, so we didn't realize till yesterday that one pin is missing. So there's Dan's boat there. Turn around and show Dan's boat. We're going to be following him. We're going to be following him all the way, and we're motoring. We have one shroud missing, we're not going to sail.
We're going to go through this little opening.
Yeah. This is going to be a 12-hour motoring. It's a long time. From Iroquois all the way to Kingston, Treasure Island. Okay, look at these trees in the middle of this little channel. Look at the trees. It's crazy. We have to motor.
Make a very sharp turn.
Tiny little channel to get out of here.
It's fine.
It says we're in 14 feet of water, but it's hard to believe that when we got a tree on the right and trees on the left.
Something tells me those trees are normally not surrounded by water.
No, it's crazy floods for this time of year. We don't usually get this much water. That buoy is supposed to be completely out of the water. So whatever slack it had is gone and it's still being pulled under.
It's pretty. I'm glad it's not raining. It's a very nice nature. Lots of birds.
All those evergreens are not supposed to be underwater. Or these ones here, look at these. Oh my goodness.
Cute.
They would be dead if that was normally the water level.
Yeah, there's like scattered trees all throughout this little channel. So, it's weird.
Thank goodness we had shore power last night. We slept on the boat after we went in and we went through all that fiasco in the rain. We slept on the boat and luckily we were parked beside the crane which had a shore power plug. Because if it wasn't for the shore power and the electric heater we had, we would have frozen to death. I think last night was 4 degrees.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cold to be sleeping on a boat.
4 degrees and very damp.
And very wet. Everything inside was wet. A lot of our clothes were wet. We were wiping off everything with towels. They were all wet. And you just can't get anything dry unless you had, luckily we had an electric space heater that helped dry out things a little bit. But not the starting weekend we were hoping for our first weekend on the boat. This was supposed to be our 12 hours of going through the 1,000 Islands beauty and filming everything. Maybe even getting my drone up. But not looking so good. It's actually surprising it's not raining because originally the weather forecast was rain all yesterday, rain all today. But since I work next weekend, we couldn't put it off, so we had to go no matter what. So, motoring, even if it was in the rain, and it's going to rain later for sure.
Yeah.
We can't dodge this rain forever. At which point I'll probably get soaking wet down here, and Janice will be down below.
I will.
Staying warm.
I will. I'll be cleaning. I'll do stuff.
Oh, cleaning. Shall we?
I'll do stuff.
We'll see.
Yeah. There's an itty bitty baby tree.
Itty bitty.
Looks like we're about to exit this teeny tiny channel. Following Dan. Now we're in the big open St. Lawrence. You can see a stinky factory down the channel that way.
Those are some big red buoys. Look at the size of that thing.
Yeah. So, shipping
St. Lawrence,
ships.
baby.
Yay, St. Lawrence! That's the channel for the big container ships. And the humongous buoys are for them, I guess. Woo!
So we're on the St. Lawrence for the first time, but we're going up river, which means we're going to be fighting the current. So even though I'm going at 2200 RPM, which should get me like 5.2, 5.3 knots of speed, Dan told me at certain points, especially when we're going under some sort of bridge we're going under, the current's pretty strong against us, so we're going to be down to like 3 knots. So it's going to be 12 hours probably of motoring, so we're not going to do it all today. We're going to stop somewhere along the way and anchor, and yeah, we got the dinghy behind us, and if we want to socialize with Dan and Teresa and their friend Renee, then we'll jump in the dinghy. It'll all depend on if it's pouring rain and freezing cold though, because we won't want to go in the dinghy to somebody else's boat if it's really, really nasty or something. But I just realized now we got to take the fenders out. So,
Okay.
Talk to you later. Well, just so many things happened in this 2-day trip up the St. Lawrence that we can't fit it all into this episode. We had been so looking forward to this trip. A 2-day trip up the St. Lawrence through the Thousand Islands. It was supposed to be beautiful, and at this time of the year it was supposed to be a lot warmer than it was. Our sailing experience up to now has been on smaller rivers, and we never had to deal with massive behemoths like this passing us, but it was kind of cool to see. So many things we did for the first time, such as crossing underneath big international bridges that go between Canada and the United States. We've never gone under a bridge before. We passed a lot of really picturesque cottages and houses all along the St. Lawrence. The Saturday was cold and it rained, and it was kind of miserable to the point that Janice spent most of the time down below. So I steered for 8 hours of the first day in my wet weather Fowlies looking like something from The Deadliest Catch. And here we are at the end of the first day. See Janice in her nice little jams with her little house coat. My face is red from windburn. Doesn't seem fair, does it? Well, the Sunday was even colder and wetter and more miserable than the Saturday was. And Janice was commenting that maybe with the crappy weather we should have canceled and done it 2 weeks later, but I was trying to put a positive spin on it, saying at least we got the job done. Now I wish the water had been a little higher so they canceled us, or we had canceled for bad weather. Because 15 minutes before the end of our 12 hours of motoring, this happened. Yeah, that's the catastrophe I've been hinting at all episode. The good thing is it's pretty much all cosmetic damage with the stanchion bars being torn off, and nobody got injured, so that's the plus side. Obviously, there's a story behind this, and that'll have to be discussed on the next episode. So in the next episode, we'll cover the rest of the journey up the St. Lawrence River and all the scenic spots we saw along the way. But now you know it's not going to end happily. Like I said, it's cosmetic, so we'll still be able to use the boat this summer, but we're going to be sailing around looking like we just went through a war zone. As anyone knows, getting service providers to do work on a boat in the summertime is like pulling teeth, so it might not be fixed until the end of the summer. Who knows what's going to happen, but you'll learn as we learn. So subscribe so you don't miss an episode.